Welcome to King Sejong Station, ladies and gentlemen. We're spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, representing P.E.K.K.A. As we all know, it is Elfi. His opponent, however... I laugh every time I see that, and it's never gonna get old. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Team Swarm Host, I suppose, it's SortOf. And SortOf able to win game number one without the use of Swarm Hosts, it has to be said. He's got a good number of Mutalisks that he was able to use to pick off the Stalkers. And the reason why that's important is because Elfi had an attack at some point where it looked like he might be able to win the game. And over-pressuring with the Stalkers just allowed a couple too many of them to get picked off. And as the Zerg player, you're always waiting for that one point where you go, can my mutas take on the things that can shoot up yet? No, they can't. Alright, I have to be really careful. I need to send in the Lings. I need to send in the Roaches. I need to wait. I need to wait. I need to wait now. And the moment your mutas can overcome whatever can shoot up, you can just crowd round production structures, just push across the map, and it's really difficult for anyone to deal with the mobility of the mutas when they don't even have the units to defend against them. So, very patient play coming out from SortOf there in game number one, and paying off for him now. In game number two, we have got the 15 hatch out from our Zerg player, and the Forge first coming out from Elfi here. So, as soon as this Overlord spots that, we're going to be seeing a very, very fast third hatch come out of our Zerg player. And for those of you who perhaps haven't seen or don't know about the competitions we're going to be running today so far, make sure you go ahead and check out facebook.com/NorCraft Cup. There's going to be a decent number of giveaways throughout the day today, including peripherals, I should say. So we got gaming mice, headsets from the sponsors, thanks to Hitbox and Cooler Master, of course, for putting this tournament on, as well as a suspected cannon rush for making King Sejong Station very interesting. Now, we saw an attempted cannon rush yesterday on King Sejong Station where it basically didn't work because the buildings could get targeted down in time. I don't know if we're going to see a similar situation today. It's looking pretty careful at the moment for the Protoss, and I think this cannon's going to finish up. This one's going down if it doesn't get cancelled. It only gets a single shot off, but this one's gone up, that one's gone up, and we do have a fifth one as well. Fifth building, I should say. So, Elfi going Forge first and delaying his own natural in favor of absolutely cannoning out the entire world. Now, this delays the Protoss quite a bit, by the way, because at the end of the day, there's no defense here. There's going to be a single cannon, and that's it. There's no gateway, there's no cybernetics core, there are no production structures, no nothing. So yes, this natural expansion is forfeit, but not all is lost. He'll be able to send Lings out across the map, potentially send them to the third, I would like to see, so that he can clear that out and get a hatchery there ASAP, but no biggie. He basically needs to run past this wall now, and if he successfully runs past the wall, he can do so much damage inside the main base because there are not going to be any zealots to stop him or anything like that. And it looks like we've concluded that we're actually just going to be going back and trying to transition into a normal game here. These Zerglings look like they're just going to be going for the back rock, so we're not looking to do a really quick attack. I think he thought there just wasn't enough time to kill off this photon cannon as well. So as I was saying before, guys, before a cannon rush rather amusingly interrupted that, make sure you check out facebook.com/NorCraft Cup. Gaming mice, headsets, and other peripherals being given away all day today. And to enter those competitions, you need to like the Facebook page. There'll be various posts set up there where you'll be able to win them. And I suspect the winners will get contacted on Facebook. So good luck to you if you choose to enter. And yeah, to be honest, some of those prizes, especially some of those headsets, look pretty sexy, and I wouldn't mind giving them a go as well. But unfortunately, apparently I'm busy and I'm not allowed to. So, you know, if I can't, you guys better do it for me and let me know how it goes. So still only the one base, of course, down for SortOf. He hasn't actually come and taken out these cannons yet. And with 2 pylons, it makes it a little bit difficult. You can kind of kamikaze in and pick off the 1 pylon to unpower these cannons if need be. But when there are 2 pylons powering them, it just means you lose so much more while trying to kill them off. It's really frustrating. And this photon cannon should warp in before these debris actually go down. We have a mothership core to help out now as well. So SortOf's ambitions of getting into the base that way, unfortunately, are not going to be realized at this stage. And at the moment, well, The natural /third expansion here is doing okay for our Zerg player. We have the Stargate follow-up coming out of here from Elfi. So let's take stock of the position right now. We've got 29 probes versus 27 drones, which is a great position for the Protoss to be in, of course. We have a mining nexus where it's really difficult at the moment for SortOf to retake his natural expansion, which means we have a 2-base Protoss versus a 2-base Zerg. For that reason, choosing this map to cannon rush on when there just isn't a super obvious, easy to defend third base anywhere, means, I think, that Elfi's in just a really comfortable position right now. More gateways being added on. The Stargate's about to complete. Look at how large this distance is before he can actually connect his 2 existing bases by creep. It's going to take forever. And as a result of this, I think Elfi's just enjoying his 2-base economy right now and saying, actually, I'm going to be able to do whatever the heck I want right now. So I'm just going to be chrono boosting these pros. He's up to 36, 37. Now, SortOf admittedly has taken the lead on 41, but he is still on those 2 bases, and he doesn't seem to have any ambitions yet of taking his third. We now have 6 roaches on the way, so I think that's really the point where these cannons start getting cleaned up. But that's a very long time for a Zerg to be on 2 bases. And he's only on the 3 gases, so we're not going up post layer to a super immediate spire, I don't think, although the timings for that have been messed up somewhat, so I don't think it makes too much sense anyway. We've got a spore crawlers going down now in the mineral lines by the looks of things. One in the natural. I wouldn't be surprised to see a second one in the main. Mothership core just kind of chilling out, waiting to see what's happening with the queens, checking where their creep spread is. And now we have, oh wow, we have stalkers coming to deal with the roaches as well. So actually Elfi's going, you know what, mate? I'm not actually going to allow you to kill these cannons. I'm going to make you wait as long as possible for your third. I love this little warp in. It does so much for such little investment here. I really want to highlight that. And now we have 3 phoenixes coming in as well. And, oh, if they're able to lift the queens while the stalkers deal with the rest, that's also going to be great. Is Elfi going to actually put another warp-in's worth of units here? Because that's going to get to be quite a big commitment. If he picks off the queens, I think he'd be reasonably happy here. And there goes 1 queen. The stalkers are actually just going to try and escape. 3 queens I don't think is quite enough to kill that queen. It's not. He needs a second pickup, and he will get it. But we have got a... oh, no. Well... thanks to the transfuse, I really don't think this is going to do much. Unfortunately, the spore crawler is doing so much damage right now. The mothership core actually gets picked off. I love the repositioning of the spore crawler here from SortOf, and I guarantee to you guys that Elfi was not expecting that. And he's not going to be pleased losing an almost full energy mothership core. He does manage, though, to keep a hold of these 3 stalkers, which is pretty cool. But, well, all that remains of the former cannon rush now are actually the 2 pylons. The cannons themselves have been taken out. We've got a couple of roaches here squirming around in midair. One of them on 7 hit points, but the Phoenix is refusing to target them. Okay, there we go. Both of them will eventually go down. And we have Elfi here just trying to be as effective as possible with these Phoenixes. Managing to pick up another one. It looks like he's going to try and kill off 1 more roach. Will successfully do so. And we're going to be going into Roach Hydra. Oh my god! Oh my god, another cancel on the hatchery at the natural expansion there, using these 2 pylons to warp in 4 more zealots. Just really, really well played by our Protoss player, and that is not going to be making our Zerg happy at all. Wow, that was pretty huge, to be honest. And I mean, we're now at the 12-minute mark, guys, and a Zerg versus a Protoss that went Forge first. Okay, it was a cannon rush. Still hasn't got his 3rd base up in mining. He's going into Roach Hydra, but individual Hydras are getting picked off by Phoenixes right now. And I have to say, Elfi's down in supply. He's 86 to 102. And, you know, this game could still go either way, but Elfi has to at least be feeling comfortable here. Robotics Bay about to complete as well, so that's going to be great against the Roach Hydra armor if he's able to get a lot of those units down. He's actually starting up his 3rd base, and his 3rd base is going to complete before the 3rd for the Zerg. So just to give you an idea of where we're at right now, these are the odds that SortOf are fighting against. He's coming in with a bunch of army, and he's going to try and see if he can stop this 3rd from going down. It doesn't look like it, though. He pays for his efforts with a single Roach, and I think SortOf suspects now that he can't quite kill this all off. So he's going to have to waddle on back home. And this is a problem now, because we have the Protoss at 1-1, and we have a Zerg at 0-0, only just taken his 3rd base, only just at 120 supply. Versus a Protoss that is continuously coming in, continuously just doing more and more damage. And, well, losing a Phoenix is going to be a good start for him. But he needs to do an awful lot more than that if he wants to sort of take this game from Elfi right now, who seems like he's just playing really, really well. The Twilight Council is about to complete. We've got the extended thermal lance here, also about 2/3 of the way done. But, alright, we have the play coming out of SortOf that we were all expecting, we were all waiting for. The Swarm hosts, ladies and gentlemen, are on their way. Enduring Locust is about halfway complete now. And we have the first 4 on the field. Now, SortOf does need to get to kind of like the 12-15 territory before he starts being a real menace. We saw loads of game yesterday, guys. I don't know if you remember here, where he had, well, not SortOf specifically, although some of them were him, but we had a lot of Zergs where they went Swarm hosts, and that worked for like, oh, I don't know, sort of 4 to 6 of them. And then a Protoss just went, well, actually, I'm just going to eat your Locust Wave once and stand on top of your Swarm host with an Observer. And I'm going to just try and break through this before your Swarm host numbers get too big. And Protosses were able to do that in at least 2 of the games that we saw yesterday. So, is Elfi going to attempt to do the same thing today? I'm not sure. I mean, it could certainly be something he goes for. At the moment, oh, picking off 2 more Phoenixes, but actually managing to get some Queens for his efforts as well. And we have the 4th base finally being taken here for SortOf, out here in the middle of the map. Now, Elfi hasn't pushed out with anything in a while. He's got Archons coming in, a lot of Archons coming in, actually. He's got the +2 attack on the way, Charge is about to finish, so a good number of Zealots here to tank the damage at the front of this army. And there are 3 Colossi here. Now, is that going to be enough to take on what Snute has to offer? SortOf even. We are going to see Snute play later, though, so make sure you stay tuned for that. That's going to be awesome. We've got a lot of Hydras. I say a very Hydra-heavy army right now. And, you know, they are light armored, so Colossi could potentially just rake through them. We'll find out in just a bit. This Observer is going to be able to spot that there's a small troop of roaches there. And Elfi goes, hang on a second. 3 roaches. I'm thinking about taking that. So he's going to be moving out. Is he going to the left-hand side to pick this off? It doesn't look like. I think he's just aware that this is going to be a hit squad that moves in as soon as he sees that Elki has moved out. And the Locusts are now in the middle of the map. Pylon goes down. And Pekka's Elfi is going to immediately spot a Locust and go, oh, there's at least 1 Locust here. But the Archon's actually going to bear the brunt of the damage in the back. And, ooh, one of them goes down. 2 Archons. That second Archon's so close to going down here. But we have the main battle now. The Colossi in a great position on the low ground, unable to be targeted by any of the Protoss units. But that's because we don't have Vipers yet. They are going to be coming in now. Good pick off of the Observer by the Spore Crawler. 2 Yanks from the Vipers. One of the Colossi is going to go down. The second one, though, stays up. And a good time warp means that a decent number of Hydralisks just went down there. But has Elfi waited too long? The number of swarmers out on the map now is 18, and I feel like SortOf has passed the point where you're really kind of worried that you don't have enough swarm hosts to deter your opponent from doing anything scary. So here they are, guys. The cache hosts themselves making an appearance in this game, and we have, well, a lot of, oh dear, he needs to be careful with those locusts. All right, there we go. Guardian Shield goes up, Force Fields go down. Oh, and a yank on the first Colossus doesn't kill it. Second yank on that Colossus as well. That's finally going to bring it down. But the natural expansion here for SortOf is going down now. And, oh, a 3rd yank. Is it going to be enough? It doesn't look like it. Okay, 4th yank as well. So, not the greatest admitted use of energy on those resources there, but doing a reasonable amount nonetheless. We have the base that was taken second, which I guess is technically the 3rd base, being harassed by Zealots right now, and a couple of those drones are actually in danger of going down. Luckily, we've got the Locust here to back it up and try and save him, but I feel like SortOf's now playing a really reactive game. Elfi's just, he's dictating the pace right now, and SortOf's kind of sitting back going, okay, where are you going to attack next? I'll defend against that and consolidate from there. I'll defend against that and consolidate from there. And the problem is, if you just continuously do this as a Zerg player, either you have to be continuously expanding non-stop, or, wow. Well, Kamikaze Swarm Host, ladies and gents, here he comes. No, hang on a second. That's not a good idea. Guys, come back, don't leave me alone. And that's a very sensible idea there from SortOf. In the meantime, we have a War Prism with 4 Zealots moving into the main base. And this could end up being terrible. There you go. That was like that was the shortest live attack I've seen in quite a while, ladies and gents. Single Swarm Host being lifted now. And unfortunately, oh, actually getting transfused as well, not getting rebarrowed, so that's not going to get lost to those 2 Phoenixes there. Where is the Protoss Death Ball? There it is. Only 2 Colossi with this does concern me a little bit. Also, this 2 Phoenix harass isn't the most exciting thing I've ever seen. However, it's actually going to get a queen, which I'm quite impressed with. They've obviously got a lot of energy and they're able to do that. 4th base now trying to come down for Elfi. He's got the Ursadak Calf defending this base location. We've also got the 5th, by the way, up now for SortOf as well. So in a way, this game is normalizing, but the primarily Hydralisk army here, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like it's just really, really squishy. And he can probably do a whole bunch of hit and run, but I'm really not sure that means he can take any sort of meaningful advantage right now, because the army just dies so quickly with none of those roaches or lings in front to soak up a lot of the damage. And you really want to use roaches rather than lings when you have a lot of colossi on the board, because otherwise those lings just, I mean, they just disappear so quick. They get absolutely positively roasted, and it's just no fun for any concern. Alright, so we're going take 2 with this Warp Prism, and we're saying we don't care that you have Hydralisks on the way. We're in fact just going to be warping in a lot more. And here we go, that's actually a decent number of Zealots to try and take out 4 Spine Crawlers and change. We'll be able to take out 1, 2, gets the Queen, there's the 3rd Spine Crawler, there's the 4th. He could potentially go for the Hive here. Is he going to target it down? It looks like he's going for the Spore. No, he's just going for random stuff by the looks of things. And we'll be able to take out the Spore Crawler, so a potential for future air harass. A lot of Hydralisks going down at the front of this, and that's what I was talking about. The Hydras just being so squishy that even though they do insane DPS, they also die really quickly. So I feel like that drop and that trade coming out of there for SortOf was totally worth it for him. These Locusts, in the meantime, they're not really doing too much extra, I have to say. Elfi's just kind of waiting until he gets so many Colossi and so many Archons that he doesn't mind anymore. Because he'll have so much DPS he can kill off these Locusts very, very quickly indeed. Guardian Shield going up. Is he going to engage? It does not look like it at the moment. Number of Swarm Hosts is 22, which is definitely a healthy number to be at if you're a Zerg player. And we're also going Corruptors as well to try and pick off those Colossi and potentially snipe off the Mothership Core as well. Now, this game is stabilized. Both players are at basically maxed out armies. And, well, we're just waiting for this Death Ball to get bigger so that Elfi can be a little bit more confident moving out on the map right now. Hallucinating a couple of Colossi. I'm guessing he's hoping that the Vipers actually abduct the wrong ones as well. And here we go. The first one gets abducted into the Corruptors. And a couple of the hallucinated ones now at the back, trying to tempt and abduct out of them as well. We'll see if that ends up happening. These 2 on the right there are definitely going to get abducted first. Oh! Manages to abduct a fake one by the looks of things. One of the real ones is going to go down. A couple of fake ones still at the bottom here. And just trying to present themselves as easy pickings, unable to do so at the moment. This hatchery, wow, 2 more Colossi getting abducted, but look at these Archons and how much splash damage they're doing. Are they going to be able to tank enough damage there? I'd love to see a wall of Zealots in front of this to really kind of pave the way for those Hydras. Killing off a base yet again, I mean, that's a lot of blood splatter on the floor here, let's not kid ourselves. But look at how much of this army has been sacrificed. More Zealots now coming in over here. We have, well, they're dealing quite effectively with the static defense, it has to be said. But unfortunately not too much in the way of drones actually getting killed off there. It looks like 2 Zealots remaining, trying to kill off these Spine Crawlers. Unfortunately, it's only going to be the one left, and I don't think he's going to get the race. Win the race, rather, to kill that Spine Crawler off, who's at 30 hit points. More Zealots now charging in and killing off so many Hydralisks. It's ridiculous. There's nothing to buffer the Hydras here, and there was nothing to buffer for the Archons and the Colossi just then, so both sides kind of losing a reasonably large number of units. The Zealots just gather next to the Ursadak Calf for an annual general meeting. Long distance mining happening at the natural now, deciding, hang on a second, I don't really need one of them hatchery things yet. Okay, no, there we go. I was wondering how long it would take for him to get round to that, but it's fine. Snute still has a healthy number of swarm hosts on the table, and we have got a lot of zealots, and oh my god, these hydras, they just get shredded, guys. I mean, fold them up and put them in a tortilla, because wow. This is how quickly zealots shred hydras, and this is why I think that when Elfi presents himself with those kind of big team fight scenarios, he needs to just see more and more zealots in his composition. Unfortunately, that's not something we see out of him at the moment, but I'd love to see that in time for the next fight. Both sides now just comfortably mining off of all their bases. The fourth, you can see, is alive and well for Elfi right now. He's actually also getting a mothership, and the mineral income and the gas income is more or less, or was more or less the same rather, but Elfi now, I mean, he's just mining an awful lot more. He's trying to prevent mining at as many bases as possible. Of course, he had the Zealot run by here. He managed to kill off the hatchery here. This is the newest base, and admittedly that looks pretty solid. But with this Protoss army now is Ein Mothership. We've also got Storm alongside these High Templars. So this is a very fearsome army indeed. The Mothership obviously has to get abducted and killed off before the rest of the army can be targeted, unless we have loads and loads of Overseers with the army and can spot all of the invisible units. A lot of Void Rays here as well, so Void Ray Colossus basically being the endgame here for the Protoss. And, well, that's a pretty fearful composition. I mean, a lot of Zergs, even when they see it coming, that doesn't guarantee that they can stop it. And the composition here just getting better and better for Elfi. His army supply is currently 127. SortOf, though, does have the lead in army supply. He's at 151 right now. And don't forget, those Locusts are basically free. So, how many rounds of those Locusts is he going to kill? Ooh, pardon my mouse. And how many of these... Oh, he needs to be careful. Second yank on the Mothership Core. He needs a third one. Third yank on the Mothership Core, and it will go down finally. And now here comes the main fight, I think. The Void Rays continuing to push forward. The Archons providing a lot of splash damage and tanking a lot as well. And the Colossi in the back just doing so much range damage right now. And a great Storm to start things off on those Locusts. Just trying to zone the Zerg player out. And doing a great job, actually. His Storms on a lot of the units and on a lot of the static defense. So Elfi's really going in here and pushing it very, very hard. The problem is there are 4 Spore Crawlers at once attacking the Void Rays. And I'm not sure it's going to quite be enough. A lot of the Swarmos actually getting roasted right now. And the number back out on the field is 18. So there were something like 25 there. But that was at the expense of almost the entire Protoss army there. And Elfi falls now to 126 supply versus the 167 of SortOf when they trade that. We have huge upgrades for Elfi, by the way. He's got 3 1-2 upgrades on his ground units and +1 air weapons, whereas SortOf just has 3-2 on his ground units. So +3 shields is going to help a lot, of course, with potential Archon play. And we have another round of Zealots. It's going to be Zealots versus Spine Crawlers here, guys. It's like the new Plants versus Zombies, except this time I think the Spine Crawlers might actually win. And, well, here we go. It's round God knows how many in Zealots versus Spine Crawlers, and it looks like the Zealots are not going to be able to take that easy win. However, these Hydralisks, well, they might have another story to tell. Luckily, the Locusts are going to be able to back them up, and this Harass is going to do absolument rien. Alright. So, same army composition being produced again from Elfi, and this time I honestly think it's a lot weaker. Why do I think it's weaker? I think you need to be able to get that Death Ball as a Protoss for a very good reason. At the end of the day, 3 Colossi, much better than 2. 4 Colossi, better than 3, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't just go up linearly, guys. When you stack that area of effect damage, it's huge for a Protoss player. So when you lose your entire army once, like Elfi did just now, maxing out the second time, you're never going to feel as good as the first one, because you're like, darn, I wish I saved more of the units and I could have just this big, massive 200 Death Ball, because that would just be so much more effective right now. And here we go, the Corruptors actually coming in, trying their best to take out as many of these units as possible. We have an Abduct by the looks of things on one of the High Templars. Good feedback, actually, on one of the Vipers there. They're just going to be heading back home to try and munch on a hatchery or two. And do we have a replacement Mothership Core? We do, actually. Where is it? It's just with the army here. So no Mothership yet from Elfi. And a +3 flyer attacks now for those Corruptors. Going to be able to kill off these Void Rays and Colossi very quickly indeed. Now, Void Rays do kill off Corruptors, like, ridiculously easily. But, at the end of the day, if you just have enough corruptors, then that's not going to matter, especially if they got those +3 upgrades. So they're evening out that score against Void Rays. A lot of Zerg players hate having to play against these because corruptors die so quickly thanks to their armor and the Void Rays ability, of course. That prismatic alignment, very, very useful. Right now, though, we're 35 minutes into this game too, and neither side is currently budging. We finally have a bit of swarm host pressure against this base on the right-hand side, so this will be the 5th base for Elfi here. And at the moment, it doesn't look like he's caring too much, although he probably needs to build a couple of cannons or some sort of structure or something to prevent these pros from going down in the long run. Let's take a look. We have 2 locusts followed by a whole bunch of others. And it looks like they're just attacking the Nexus now by the looks of things, but they can actually do a lot of damage to this probe line as well. And that's why Elfi's now coming across with the rest of his army. He's saying, actually, I can't really afford to lose this, so I'm going to go ahead and smack this as much as I can. And here comes the static D. We're moving into the endgame now for SortOf. A lot of these static defense, of course, going down. Spore crawlers to prevent those colossi, to prevent those void rays from going through. It also means that abducts into spore crawlers are just that much more annoying as well from a Protoss player's point of view. Very difficult to avoid those, which means he has to tread slowly and very, very carefully. And I like the fact that SortOf is basically saying, right, your army's over here, it's less mobile, I'm going to go ahead and grab another base. That's really cool. We have Zealots coming in once again at the 3rd base location. Looks like there are no workers there at the moment, but it's still basically mined out anyway, so not too much of a big deal. The main army is still taking a pounding. It said 189 supply versus 184, so the Protoss actually in the lead here, but I'm 90% sure this ain't the whole army. We need to see some more units meet up with this before we consider that a death blow worthy of striking fear into the heart of the Zerg. Right, so this is mined out, there were no gases. This is mined out, there were no gases in the main. The 3rd base is mined out, there were no gases. So we've got this mining base, and we've got this mining base for Elfi. Let's take a look at the situation on SortOf's side of the map. This base is gone. No gases, or there's 600 left in this one, but nothing's mining. This one, minerals nearly gone. Still actually gas here. 3rd base, gone, no gases. 4th base, under attack, lots of static D. Definitely mining, definitely still has gas. This base, taken out by a Zealot run-by. This base, starting to get low, but basically it's still there. So we kind of have 3 mining bases for the Zerg at the moment versus 2 mining bases of the Protoss. And if Elfi loses this base, he's in major trouble. But otherwise, at the moment, he's hanging on quite well. He's got the +2 flyer attacks in now. Those +3 shields are going to be able to help his entire army, but particularly the Archon so much. And SortOf has this base and these 2 bases over here on the right-hand side that are comfortably mining. Because this one is basically gone. Is there a single mineral patch there? No, actually there isn't. That was just the very edge of something else there. So just the Overlord. So, yeah. That's kind of the situation we're in right now, and it's a tricky one because both sides want to be able to keep their economy going into the late game, but it's really hard to go out without taking risks and saying, well, I hope a run-by doesn't just kill off this mining base, because that's entirely possible. A couple of fake Zealots going to be moving in with this army, and it looks like he'll successfully infiltrate the base. Nobody suspects us, boys. Just keep moving, and everything will be fine. And I think Elfi spots that. Do we have a single probe going out to tickle the Zealots? I'd love that so much. But it doesn't look like we do. He's actually just leaving them alone for now. And this troop of Zealots moving out across creep looks like have a sacred mission to kamikaze themselves into spore crawlers. They will successfully do that without question and with infinite amounts of zeal. Unfortunately, that doesn't win you battles, as they have just found out. And we have another 5 Zealots moving out towards this top location. Is he going to take the watchtower first? Looks like he is. He's managing to kill off those 2 Zerglings, and taking this watchtower is always a good position to be in. And SortOf right now, he's not being very aggressive with his swarm hosts. He's not kind of planting them here and going, right, I'm going to harass this space. He's not planting them here and going, right, I'm going to completely overtake this bottom left-hand corner of the map, which, by the way, is now mined out as well. So I don't really know, to be honest. This is a weird situation to be in, because at the end of the day, well, 2 Zealots and a lot of probes now. I mean, you can tell this is endgame. They're going to try and stop this hatchery from going down once again. And I have to say, SortOf just isn't being particularly aggressive right now. So I'm a little bit surprised by that. Are these probes actually gonna... Yes, they are actually gonna force the cancel. That's pretty cool. So Team Probe just about manages to do that, but the hatchery does go down almost immediately for SortOf. Neither side is being very aggressive right now, guys. It looks like they're both waiting to get their maxed out armies, waiting until absolutely everything is perfect, and then fine. And that's the point where they move. Now, interestingly, SortOf only ever stayed with +1 armor upgrade. If you take a look at his units here, guys, let me see. Let me just click on... there you go. We've actually got +1 armor, and SortOf never bothered researching +2 or +3. To me, that's interesting, because I wonder if he actually forgot it. And oh my goodness, this is the most fragile army in the history of Zerg right now. Only Infestors and Hydralisks, and darn right he has to get out of there. He needs to be so careful. This Death Ball army is now looking pretty scary for the Protoss. But SortOf starting to build a bank, and Elfi doesn't have one right now. Great feedback on one of the Vipers, but there are plenty more where they came from. And, well, we're pushing out onto creep now. Is our Protoss player. We have the potential counterattack over here on the left-hand side. It looks like this group of Swarmers is going to be able to deal with that just fine indeed. Good fungal growth, actually, on so many of those invisible units mean that they do all prevent themselves from being concealed for quite a while. But now normal service has resumed. There's still full energy on that mothership until it was very spontaneously killed off as soon as that happened. And, well, now we have the Colossi moving in from the fringe to try and pick apart this air army. The Void Ray is doing a good job at the moment, while the Colossi continue killing off that static defense at the 2 o'clock position here. But I think, with the Locust as well, it's potentially just enough, I would say, to force Elfi back, if Elfi just continues attacking to the static defense and ignoring the army. So he needs to pay very careful attention to the army right now. And I love this hit-and-run strategy from SortOf, just trying to whittle down the army. He's down to 174 a supply, but his opponent's down to 130, and it's a lot more difficult for Elfi to remax than SortOf right now. And SortOf now, he's actually pushing in. He's saying, I think I can take on these Void Rays, and only 3 of them are left. A lot of them have gone down for Elfi. He's down to 118 supply, and these are just so difficult to replace here. A Storm does it finally push those Corruptors away. But wow, that was a big engagement, and this hatchery once again being targeted. I like how there's no static defense here, but there's approximately all of the static defense in the world here. Cold War is being fought on the right-hand side of the map, and on the left-hand side it's kind of like, meh, whatever guys, I don't even need to worry about it. We've got Spore Crawlers, that'll be fine, right? But unfortunately the Zealots just keep picking this up. So I think SortOf's going to have to deal with this very soon. He's got the 2 Spine Crawlers, but he might need a little bit more than that, not going to lie. And now, more Archons, more Colossi. Not more Void Rays yet, though. I see 4 here, and I don't see others linking up with this just yet. So he's once again going to be moving out. He's not actually waiting. He's at 126 supply. Single Storm to remove that Plague of Locusts. And, woo. Well, that Infestor didn't live to see the light of day, did he? And the static defense is getting attacked now, so the Swarmers are going to have to move out. We've got Infestors and Corruptors on the other side, though. Elfi's kind of trapped here, guys. And as long as Elfi's trapped here, we could be in for a pile of trouble. Good abducts there on the Colossus and on the Void Ray. Are we going to see a couple more from SortOf? Elfi needs to get out of there. I feel like he's overextending. He's down to 102 supply versus 172, and the Corruptors, they're still going at it. Great abducts. And another Colossus and another Void Ray go down as well. And these Infestors still have so much energy. The worker count is down to 42 for the Protoss and 50 for the Zerg. But really, it's how many mining bases we have right now. And SortOf's also mining more. And he's at 80 supply up on his opponent as well. I think Elfi now is starting to lose his grip on this game. And SortOf potentially will be going through here with a scoreline of 2-0. In fact, yes, that is the GG. So the Mutalisk winning game number 1 and the Swarm host winning a 48-minute game number 2. SortOf will advance to the semi-finals of the NorCraft Cup.